Why are you guys not ready for the skit?
You didn't plan a skit.
Yes I did. Remember, it was gonna be the same similar stand-up skit like we did in the Lone Ranger video because it is another Western movie.
I thought you were doing Johnny Test.
No. Why would you? I've already done Johnny Test.
No you haven't.
Yeah, no you haven't. You were literally there. Okay, you know what? Whatever. Maybe this is a good idea, okay? Maybe we should just skip the skit and get right into the movie because this one deserves it.
Oh, what movie?
Rango.
Rango what?
Just Rango? You know, the early 2010s Johnny Depp movie directed by Gore Verbinski and scored by Hans Zimmer. You know, the animated one, not this.
What?
You know what? It doesn't matter. Just try not to get too involved in the video because this movie deserves all the attention it can get.
Wait, movie? I thought Johnny Test was a TV show.
Okay. Am I crazy, or did this masterpiece of a movie get completely left behind?
Rango is a 2011 animated western directed by Gore Verbinski, and no, I'm not going to lie and say that I was one of the OG founders of this movie, as I just remember seeing commercials of it when I was younger, and I actually forgot this movie even existed until a few weeks ago.
But that's really just because no one ever seems to be talking about it.
Aside from a few videos on YouTube, this movie had just been completely forgotten. But I can't really even call it underrated, because this movie has great reviews and even won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
So, what am I missing here?
I don't even know what to say at this point, because this movie, let me tell you, is a masterpiece. Everything from the animation to the score to the deeper themes is just beautiful.
So, I guess I'll fill you all in on this movie's genius since you somehow don't remember it.
Dude, you've already done 2 videos about Ben 10.
This isn't- okay. This is Rango.
So we start this Nickelodeon movie off. Anyway, we see a band of owls who tells the story of Rango, and it's called A Hero Who Has Yet to Enter His Own Story. And then we just get to see Chameleon Johnny Depp being Johnny Depp. And this just keeps going on for like 5 minutes.
But while I'm saying this as a joke, it isn't actually a bad thing.
Because it all ties back into the character and his art, as the majority of the movie is based off him trying to find himself. First off, I love his character design. His asymmetrical body fully plays into the idea that he's a chameleon who cannot blend in, especially when he tries to draw an outline of his head and is deformed. And also, when he's with all the other inanimate objects in the cage, he says that he's playing the hero, the protagonist. Although, other than that, he has no idea who he is, because just the characteristics of the protagonist doesn't make it an interesting character.
And trust me, Disney tried.
He comes up with many different scenarios of who he could be, until the story quickly takes a turn and his owners swerve on the road and drive off without him. Although it isn't really supposed to be sad like Toy Story or something, because it's not the main focus of the movie. In fact, we don't even see their faces. This is just the thing that sets him on his journey.
And also, this is where we get to see a taste of the true masterwork of this movie's animation.
The way the water evaporates, his skin shriveling up, and the water burning up on his dry tongue. It's the little details that add so much to this movie, which is something you're really gonna come to realize. Anyway, he comes across a roadkill armadillo, which is a little dark for Nickelodeon.
Which is also something you're gonna come to realize.
But he tells Rango that it was his destiny to get to the other side, as the spirit of the West waits for him. And apart from his encounter with the armadillo, he doesn't come across any real major plot points until about 20 minutes into the movie. From here until then, it's just Johnny Depp, who does actually have really good voice acting in this movie, crossing and trying to survive in the desert from random encounters, none of them really tying into the plot.
And again, it's actually a really good thing.
It sets up the world and how different his sheltered life is from the outside. And also, even though there is an actual plot to the movie that gets told later, the main one is just Rango figuring out who he is, which is even more prevalent in a pretty trippy dream sequence he has about his insecurities of loneliness. But somehow, the writers, animators, and Johnny Depp's amazing voice acting manages to keep you engaged throughout this like 20-minute opening with seemingly no plot, similar to how the opening of A New Hope has to keep you engaged for an extended period of time with only 2 characters, one of which that can't even talk, and Hans Zimmer's beautiful score is played throughout the whole sequence. So after this pretty long opening, he finally comes across another actual character in the movie, Beane, who kinda freaks me out. Again, really? Nickelodeon? But they ride off to the town of Dirt on a carriage being powered by a board, which I'm not really sure what the hierarchy of animals is in this universe, but it's basically the same as Pluto for some reason being considered the pet, while Goofy is just considered a normal person.
Seriously, what's with that?
They go into town, and he tries to fit in with the people until going into the saloon.
And then this is really where you get to see the genius character designs even more.
This movie isn't afraid to make their characters not just cute or whatever the established norm of animation is, as almost all of them have that asymmetrical design and have tons of personality without even needing to speak a word. When someone asks who he is, he tells himself he can be anything he wants to be, as he's still not quite sure. So he chooses to go by the name Rango and pretends to be the legendary gunslinger to them. And they all immediately buy him and are impressed, which is actually very understandable understandable, as this is a town without much and they have to put their hope into something. And then he gets the people of Dirt to believe him even more as he gets into a standoff with a feared hawk and defeats him with just luck. The mayor makes him the sheriff so people can have something to believe in, while Beans does, whatever this is again. And Rango learns that the town is dangerously low on water. And I start to love the more that Rango gains confidence with his fake persona, the more the music swells compared to its original unsteady, insecure melody. The next day, they come to find that the water is stolen, so Rango and a group of ragtag animals go on a quest to find who took it. So they ride off in a bunch of roosters, which, by the way, I can't tell what's anthropomorphic and what's not, while we get some beautiful western cinematography along the likes of the Lone Ranger, which makes sense because it is basically the exact same team that worked on this. They follow the pipe in the ground, as again, all the different creatures and their designs just continue to drip with personality. There's so many different characters that I wouldn't mind seeing a whole spin-off movie for, like the bunny with one ear, the bird with an arrow in its head, and the awesome looking sparrow who has that classic western vibe to him. It makes you wonder more about them and how they got like that without really even needing that much dialogue.
They're set up without even needing to be set up.
Rango tells the people about the spirit of the West, which he heard from the armadillo at the beginning. We get to see a pretty underdeveloped relationship between him and the creeper girl, but I don't care, it's still a masterpiece. They then find the water, and we get one of the craziest and most amazing sequences in cinematic history. I'm not kidding. They steal the wagon full of water, as we get to see anthropomorphic lizards and toads riding a wagon controlled by a giant boar being chased by anthropomorphic moles riding bats with Gatling guns gunning them down World War I style, with a western cover of Ride of the Valkyries playing overhead, with toads reloading shotties with just one hand and owls turning their heads backwards to avoid getting hit, all while avoiding dynamite raining down from above them.
Seriously, how do you even come up with this stuff? I mean, come on, it's almost on par with the I Need a Hero sequence from Shrek 2. Almost. But yeah, wow, it really is a cinematic achievement.
You okay?
Yeah, why? I'm just watching a really great movie.
Okay. Sure you were. We need medical attention immediately. I think he's lost his mind. Yeah, talking animals is absurd.
Sure. What the? You guys think I made all this up? Come on. Moles riding bats while gunning down lizards and toads and owls? It doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, it sounds crazy, but that's the good thing about it. It's so original. You guys are the weird ones for not remembering it. Hey, what is this?
My book?
You didn't write a book? That was literally the reason I started the channel. You know what, whatever, I don't care. I don't need this, and I know this movie's good, and I don't care that I sound crazy.
Yeah, we better get him that medical attention.
Anyway,
they find that the water is empty, as Rango goes to the mayor to get some answers. He says he is building the future, and Rango starts to question the mayor's methods of the control of his people. Then we see quite possibly that no, it's not even a question, the coolest designed character, Rattlesnake Jake. When I talk about dripping personality, this snake is the embodiment of that, even from the very first moment where he literally drips venom into a glass. And even cooler is that he is a machine gun for a rattler.
I mean, come on, that's like the coolest design ever.
He was sent by the mayor and forces Rango to confess to everyone that he lied about his persona and walks off by himself.
And then we get the absolute best scene in the movie, and really one of the most beautiful sequences in cinematic history. Yes, even better than this masterwork in of itself.
Because while that was just insanity turned up to 11, this is something that everyone can relate to. And it honestly caught me so off guard how much symbolism this scene had, and how emotional it would get me. As Rango walks off by himself, he feels like he hits rock bottom, that not even himself understands who he is or what he's meant to be. And anyone who has ever been in a situation like this can relate to it. That's why I think this movie is on the same level, if not even better, than legendary animation companies like Pixar. Because Rango is relatable, and doesn't just try to make you cry for the sake of crying. As he comes across that busy road with all of his inanimate friends from before, he attempts to cross the other side, because he feels he is nobody. And, you know, not to get too deep or anything, because this is just a dumb YouTube video, but this is really the symbolization of suicide, and trying to walk out on your own story before it's finished.
Yeah, now he's talking about the really deep themes of a silly kids movie. Yeah, no way they'd be brave enough to include stuff like that. He's definitely crazy, and we're really worried.
Who am I? I don't know anymore. Am I crazy? Has quarantine really made me lose my mind? Well, yeah, that's probably true. But is this movie really all in my head? I could have sworn it used to be praised.
You're the spirit of this YouTube channel.
I am.
So, you're the reason why I keep getting copyright striked?
Well, that's not important right now, but what is this movie.
Wait, so it is actually real?
Of course it's real. How could anyone come up with something this crazy off the top of their heads? I've seen you write great books faster than the time it would take to come up with that.
But how come no one else sees the genius of this movie or even remembers it?
You will never be able to force people to like something they just do not like, but you will be able to make them remember it.
But how? Teach me!
You already have everything you need.
finish the review, and they will come around to you.
Yeah, but what if they don't?
This is going to be a long YouTube video. This is already the emotional climax. But trust me, that's all you need to do. No man can walk out on his own story.
I know that applies to the movie, but how does it apply here?
It doesn't, but I just really wanted to say it because it sounds cool.
Well...
Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank yourself for writing in another version of yourself in the script for some reason. Now, do you think you'll be a regular on the channel? I will be whatever you want me to be. But real talk, yeah, probably, especially if you run out of ideas. Alright, well... After that beautiful scene,
Rango then comes across the spirit of the desert, which is definitely inspired by Clint Eastwood, and tells him that he needs to go back, that it's not about him, but about the people he can save while he still can. Now, drawing a perfect rectangle compared to before, and tells him that yes, no man can walk out on his own story. He discovers Las Vegas, where all of the water is at, and realizes that the mayor is trying to control the water and build his own civilization just like it. So, with epic music swelling behind him, he decides to return to the town of dirt. But we get one of the most awesome quotes ever by Rattlesnake Jake, which, again, really pushing it Nickelodeon. But since I'm such a kid-friendly channel, Beane tells him to go to heck, and he responds with,
"Where do you think I come from?"
jeez. Just imagine that line said in SpongeBob, because it's basically rated the same and produced by the same people.
Then we get the final standoff between Rango and Jake, followed with another amazing action sequence with the mole people and their bats coming to help. Again, we get more underdeveloped whatever, until Rango earns Jake's respect as he takes the mayor away from the town for good. They change the town's name to Mud as Rango gets one last ride off into the sunset.
So, that was Rango. And... what happened? Yeah, how long are we out?
Oh, there's my book. I thought I lost it.
Wait, you guys remember everything now? Shoot, sorry, I forgot about the skit. How'd the Rango review go, though? Oh, good. But you remember everything? Oh, yeah, I love that movie. I remember it, but I don't think I'm as crazy as you guys are for it. It's a little too slow for my taste. Wait, how could you not like it? Hey, it's okay. You can't force anyone to like something. And I do somewhat understand where you're coming from.
Rango is a masterpiece, although I don't think it's a movie for everyone. This movie was definitely bold, especially for an animated movie, and especially for a Nickelodeon movie. Some might say that the pacing is off or there are some underdeveloped things, but I can easily see past those complaints, because this movie is a cinematic experience. The cinematography is breathtaking, the character designs are genius, the deeper themes about finding yourself is just beautiful, and lead to some of the most emotional scenes in the history of film. Also, there were even some solid laughs I got throughout, with Johnny Depp's amazing voice acting. So yeah, maybe I can see how this movie was left behind because it was deemed too weird for silly kids movies. But for me, this was something special that I definitely will never forget.
So now all that's left is... What the... Who is that?
Wait, yeah, who is that guy?
Hey, hello? Just because you move out of frame doesn't mean we still can't see you. Ryan, who's this guy? Wait, he's the dude that took our memory so Ryan could learn a lesson or whatever that was. Yeah, I remember you now.
Alright, listen up, bucko. I'll take you on one wing tied behind my back.
Yeah, let's get him. He's got nowhere to go. Wait.